Hello everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel. I am having surgery tomorrow. Yay! Hopefully it'll make me feel better. I know most people aren't excited about having surgery, but this has been a long time in the coming. But needless to say, I've been having some health problems and like a lot of little minor ones. I don't want you to think I'm like seriously ill because I am not. But a lot of little health problems that have taken up a lot of time and made me a little bit anxious. And so I bought books because that's what one does. So I am going to do a book haul. I'm going to try to do it all in one sitting. There are a lot of books here. I may regret this and wish I had separated it out into genres and stuff, but I don't have the time for that. So, these books are from Book Depository, Book Outlet, and Barnes & Noble. Those are my three sellers of choice. And I think I will start with like the most interesting books first that are like different and that you might not see a lot on BookTube, and go into the more not as, or the more common books. I don't know if I have a ton of common books though, I will say that. This is like a really good haul, people. Just saying, this is a really good one. I'm gonna start with like the most interesting book. I've had this on my wish list for a very, 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 very long time. I've never seen it on BookTube, and They Were Counted by Miklos Banfi. This is a classic, and it is by a Hungarian author, and I have never read anything by a Hungarian author, for one. I have not read a whole lot of Hungarian literature at all, or anything even set in Hungary, and I am Hungarian, like of Hungarian descent, I should say, partially. So I do have a very interest in reading books like this. This is about two cousins, and it is set in pre-World War I Austria-Hungary, because it was the Austro-Hungarian Empire at that point. It was written in 1934 by a count who lived through this time, and it was only discovered after the fall of communism in Hungary. And I don't know, when I'm reading it, I'm feeling getting some Steinbeck vibes, to be honest, with East of Eden, where there's definite biblical themes woven into it. And this is actually the first in a trilogy, and you can see it's a hefty book. But the Hungarian title translates, I think, to The Writing on the Wall. So it's about the fall of Babylon. And that's why I say there's biblical themes, and I think kind of woven into the fall of Babylon and the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So this is incredibly interesting to me. Whether I'm going to get to it soon or not is debatable, but I would be very interested if anyone has heard anything about this book or read it, how they thought about it. It gets very high ratings on Goodreads, but I think it really has a limited audience of people who are going to read it, and so therefore it is going to be more of a boosted rating. So if any of the classics people out there have heard or read this book, I would really, really, really love to hear what you thought about it. Also on the classics list, I bought The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. I've been really enjoying Ray Bradbury lately, and I don't know why, but I'm into it again. I haven't read Fahrenheit 451 again, but all I can do is think about it. And I've been talking about Ray Bradbury as an author frequently with other homeschooling people, mothers, and it's just, I haven't read enough of him, and so I got into it and I bought this book, and it's pretty. And a good segue into the nonfiction is also a classic novel of nonfiction, All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot. I have never read this book. It's very, very sad, and I would like my daughter to read it in her homeschool year or listen to it on audio, but this is just so pretty. And it's a classic memoir. I know I have not watched the BBC series either. And I guess you can't technically term it a classic because it was written in 1972, but still, whatever. Also on my nonfiction list here are 20,000 Secrets of Tea, the most effective ways to benefit from nature's healing herbs. I've had this on my want to read list for a very long time on Goodreads, but the library doesn't have it and I can't find it on ebook, but I saw it on, I don't know, wherever I found it and bought it because I have problems. And I think this was a book outlet one, but I grabbed The Genius of Birds by Jennifer Ackerman, nonfiction book about birds. And I've been kind of into birds. My mother's always been into birds and it's kind of worn off on me. And so this looks like a good book. For middle grade, I grabbed 3 middle grade books, and I think they're each from like a different store. It's a riot, but probably only to me. I grabbed Murder Most Unladylike by Robin Stevens. I have been eyeballing this series, and I don't know if it's because of the covers or the content, but I've been looking at it for a very, very long time, and we do not have them at our library. I believe they are UK. So I couldn't get my hands on them unless I got them from Book Depository, so I grabbed the first one. And these are, well, 1 boarding school, and I'm all about that, and 2 mysteries, and I'm kind of about that too. I like them. So I will see how much I like this. I also grabbed The Tea Shop Girls by Laura Schaefer. I've had my eyeball on this for a couple of years. Another one that my library does not have for some reason. But you also know that I'm like a tea crazy person, as you can see from that other book. If it centers around tea, I want to read it. And so this is more of like an end of middle grade sort of book about a group of girls in 8th grade and how they're going to be friends forever. And so they form this tea shop club of some sort. Anyway, it looked really, really cute. And I think there's more in that series as well, but I'll see how I like the first book. And then I grabbed a modern classic, middle grade, The Westin Game by Ellen Raskin. It was really, really cheap on Book Outlet, and I haven't read it. And when I read the synopsis, I kind of wondered why I'd never read it or put it on my list to read, because it looks right up my alley with like a will and everyone has to find the money or something like that, and just like my sort of book. So I am looking forward to this. Do I want to do the adult books or the young adult books next? Ooh, the trouble. Oh, decisions. I think I'm going to do adult books next because they're a little bit more interesting. Young adult books, I feel like everyone sees bazillions of them if they watch any YouTube at all. So, all right. Ooh. All right, so my adult books that I bought a contemporary romance, First Star I See Tonight by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. This is a Chicago Stars novel. It is, I want to say book like 8 or something in this series. It is a contemporary romance, and I like to have a few of these like hanging out on my shelves for the right time, and I'm kind of low on them. So I grabbed it from Book Outlet, so it was like $1.99. I also grabbed a historical romance, which is my preference, but whatever. 6 Impossible Things by Elizabeth Boyle. This is also part of a series. This might be book 1 though. I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong about that, but it is a historical romance, obviously. I saw this one on Book Outlet and it looked really, really cute, so I grabbed it. Too Many Cooks by Dana Bate. This is I call them chiclet, but some women are offended by that and prefer the term woman's fiction. Yeah, so it is what it is. I believe this is, again, not one that I can find in the library, I think because it is from the UK and is not therefore at my library because it didn't really come over except for Book Outlet somehow had it, so I grabbed it because you know me and Chiclet love it. Also Book Outlet, A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. I've had this on my radar. I do think that I have it on the library, but it was so cheap on Book outlet and I had a coupon and I just like couldn't even stand it. And I've heard mixed reviews of this book, and it is the first book in a decently long series, I believe, but I kind of like having first books hanging around so that when I'm in the mood I could just grab them. Another Chiclet, A Pinch of Ooh La La by Renee Swindle. Never read another book by her, but again, when you're on Book Outlet, you kind of just put things in your bag and just don't even think about it. So don't know what this is about, but I believe baking is involved. This next one I've had on my list because it has tea in the title, and you know, tea needs to happen sometimes. And this one I did get from Book Depository because my library didn't have it, and it is a woman's fiction, and it looked still really, really good. I was still really very interested in it. It's called The Tea Chest, and it's by Josephine Moon. I don't think I've ever read anything else by her, but this is probably one, even if I hate it, it's going to stay on my shelf because of the tea. I tend to save my tea books. On a whole nother note, I grabbed a Laundress by Brandon Sanderson in one of these pretty UK covers. I really enjoy Brandon Sanderson, what I've read of his work so far. My only problem is that all of the series that I've read, I have predicted who done it and what's going to happen very early on in the game, and then spoiled myself because then I need to know whether I'm right or not, and I don't do that by actually reading the book. I do that by looking at spoilers online, which is what I did with like the Hero of Ages and the Mistborn trilogy, which I still do want to actually finish reading, but it was fantastic, but I knew who it was. Like I knew who, yeah. Anyway, whatever. We're gonna do this because I really do enjoy his world. He's amazing. So let me not spoil myself for once, please. I also grabbed A Curious Beginning, a Veronica Speedwell novel by Deanna Raybourn, and these are like mysteries, but I'm getting like steampunky kind of vibes, which I freaking love. And again, this is one that I probably have at my library, but it's book one of a series and I like to have them around, like I said, and it was really, really, really cheap, so I needed to have it. It's so pretty. I also grabbed this lovely Chiclet, Broken Hearts, Fences, and Other Things to Mend by Katie Finn. Chiclet, self-explanatory. And this is a newer release book. I think I got it at Barnes & Noble when they were having a serious discount and I had gift cards. So The Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson. I don't even really remember what this is about, and I'm sorry, but it has books on the cover, and it's been kind of floating around BookTube that this book is coming out for readers, a book for readers, and I'm all about it. I think she inherits a bookstore and tries to make it work sort of deal. Now the YA. Book Outlet, I found this one, Shade Me by Jennifer Brown. This is the first in the Nikki Kill series that I've had on my radar for a while. I don't hear a lot about these books on BookTube, but I think I did actually learn about them on BookTube. And so this is, again, book one. I think book 3 came out last year, and I think it might be the final book. But these are pretty gritty books, I think, and I believe Nikki Kill sees people's emotions in colors or something like that, some sort of disorder, and so she's used by police or something to find killers. I don't know, something of that nature. When I read it, maybe I'll have a better idea of what is actually going on, but it seemed kind of interesting and a little different from what I normally read. And sometimes you just need a little bit of a change up. I also grabbed The Jewel and The Black Key. I think this is number 1 and number 3 in this Lone City trilogy. This made it around the young adult booktube community many years ago now, I believe. This is a dystopian trilogy. If I recall correctly, the high-class women in this, similar to like The Handmaid's Tale, honestly, are infertile, and so they sell girls to have babies, but that might be oversimplifying it a little bit. But I still really was interested in this, so I grabbed the books so that I could bring them places with me. I also grabbed Coin Heist by Eliza Ludwig, and this is a heist novel. I guess it's going to be a Netflix film as well, but I saw heist and had to have it because I like heist books. It's one of my words. And I think it has to do with like prep schools too, which is something that I'm also very interested in. And for some reason I bought this one. I don't know if it was the cover or the title or what it was actually about, but it looked like something that would make me laugh, which I adore when I get to laugh. Secrets of a Teenage Heiress by Kathy Burchell. And I believe this is about a girl whose family owns hotels. Stuff happens. So, I don't know. Sometimes I have no explanation for why I buy what I buy, but a little bit of escapist literature maybe? I don't know. And then I grabbed the two books that they had from this series, Dawn of Spies and Day of Ice by Andrew Lane, and these are Crusoe Adventures. And this was just really clever because it's about Robinson Crusoe, who's 17. He's rescued from a deserted island, and his girl Friday, because it's a girl Friday. And they are rescued and brought to London and are recruited by a writer, Daniel Defoe, to find killers and be spies and stuff. And I can't. Like, that was just too funny for me, and I couldn't even stand it. I had to buy them. You know how sometimes things just like tickle your funny bone a little bit? That was that. The rest of these are continuations of series that I've been purchasing or been interested in, or they were just like so well priced I couldn't help myself. Only one of which I've actually read the first book of it. So feel free to judge me. I grabbed Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. I don't even know which novel this is in the series. I own book 1 on my Nook, believe it or not, and I've never read it, but I've read her other series and I enjoyed it, and I obviously am thinking that I probably am going to actually read this series. Yeah, so I have none of the other books other than this one that I also got from Book Depository, which where this fits in. That's how behind I am. Yes, totally judge me. Here they are. I also bought the third in this series, Refuge for Masterminds by Kathleen Baldwin. This is spying and historical, like Regency, London, and boarding school all rolled up in one for these books. And so I haven't read the first one, but I was waiting for this one to come in paperback because I have the other ones in paperback. And now I have all three, and I hope I like them because I own them. This one I picked up because I enjoyed the first book and wanted to read this one, and my library didn't get it. So I've been waiting and waiting, and now I don't even remember what the first one was about, and so I had to buy it. Sparks of Light by Janet B. Taylor. Into the Dim was the first book, and it was kind of billed as the young adult Outlander, because there's time travel. Another one of my buzzwords, like, I love to read time travel. And yes, there's love story and all of that going on, and she has to save the timeline and all of that. And it's fun, and so now I have it. And I also grabbed The Traitor's Ruin by Erin Beatty. This is the sequel to The Traitor's Kiss. I, again, had all kinds of discounts, and it was on sale and all of that, so I grabbed it. I have no idea whether the first book is good or not. It's getting kind of mixed reviews, but the covers are pretty, so at least I'll enjoy having them on my shelf for a while if I don't like them, because they're pretty. Alright, I'm back. There was one stowaway that I just found, and it is a young adult book, and it's a young adult contemporary romance, and it's not part of a series, so sorry about that. But The Boy Next Door by Katie Von Ark. and it's like an ice skating thing. It's giving me cutting edge vibes, which I love. So this has been on my want to read list for a while, but again, my library didn't have it, and I saw it at Book Outlet for cheap, and I picked it up with the rest of the Book Outlet books that I grabbed. So now that really is it. I bought 31 books, and I have no shame because I had health problems, and so I bought books. But I am very pleased. It's a lot of different genres, a lot of different age ranges, and so like I think this was like a really good book haul, and there's a lot of different things going on here for me, and I think that that is exciting. So I'm really excited to read these books. Sometimes doing book hauls like this makes me feel like a well-rounded reader. An omnivore of reading delights. Anyway, I'm like going off on the deep end and being kind of weird now, so I will talk to you all later. Stay healthy, read something great, and I will see you.